November 27, 2009. Cadillac Escalade. A fire hydrant. A tree. And the sound of shattering glass that would echo for over a decade. But this story doesn't start there. It starts on a quiet afternoon in 2025 at a youth golf tournament in South Florida, where two people who once shared everything and lost it all stood side by side for the first time in years. No cameras planned it. No PR team scripted it. Just two parents watching their kids. Tiger Woods, the man who fell from the highest peak in sports, and Elin, the woman who walked away from the wreckage with her dignity intact and never looked back. For 15 years, she stayed silent. For 15 years, the world wondered. Would she ever forgive him? Could a family this broken ever find peace? What happened that day wasn't a spectacle. It wasn't a scandal. It was something far more powerful and far more human. This is the story of what really happened when the cameras weren't rolling, when the headlines stopped, when two people who destroyed each other somehow found a way back. If this story already has you hooked, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. You're about to hear something the tabloids never told you. There are moments in life where everything you thought you knew gets ripped away in an instant. For Tiger Woods, that moment came on Thanksgiving weekend, 2009. But for Elin, it had been building for months. The whispers, the late nights, the phone calls that didn't add up. She wasn't naive. She was a woman watching her world crack open, piece by piece, knowing that once the truth came out, there would be no going back. When that SUV crashed into a fire hydrant outside their Florida mansion at 2:25 in the morning, it wasn't just a car accident. It was the detonation of a lie that had been growing for years. The man the world worshipped, the greatest golfer of all time, the billion-dollar brand, the untouchable icon, was human. Flawed, broken, and the evidence was everywhere. Within days, the confessions started pouring in. Not from Tiger. From the women, waitresses, club hostesses, nightclub managers, adult film stars. The number kept climbing. 3, 5, 10. Some reports said over a dozen. Each new headline felt like a fresh wound. But here's the thing people forget. Elin didn't just lose a husband. She lost her privacy, her safety, her ability to walk outside without the world watching. She became a symbol, betrayed wife, victim, tabloid cover. And she hated every second of it. So she did the one thing that the media didn't expect. She went silent, not out of weakness, out of power. While Tiger's life became a circus of press conferences, apologies, and rehab, Elin quietly filed for divorce, took her settlement, and built a fortress around her children. She moved on, or at least that's what it looked like. But what does moving on actually mean when your pain is public? When millions of people have an opinion about your marriage, your choices, your worth? Some said she should never speak to him again. Others said she owed it to her kids to forgive. The truth is, none of them knew what was happening behind closed doors. And for over a decade, Elin made sure it stayed that way. Tiger, meanwhile, was falling apart. His game collapsed. His body broke down. Surgeries, painkillers, a DUI arrest in 2017 where he was found asleep at the wheel, barely coherent. The man who once dominated golf couldn't even swing a club without wincing. Endorsements evaporated. Nike dropped him. His world shrank. And through it all, one question haunted him. Could he ever be the father his kids deserved? Could he ever look Elin in the eye again without shame? Here's where the story gets complicated. Because despite everything, despite the betrayal, the humiliation, the years of silence, Elin never kept Tiger from his children. She could have. Legally, emotionally, she had every right. But she didn't. Their daughter Sam and son Charlie still saw their father. Still spent weekends with him. Still called him dad. And slowly, quietly, something shifted. It wasn't forgiveness. Not at first. It was something more practical. Co-parenting. Logistics. School events. Birthdays. The kind of mundane, uncomfortable interactions that divorced parents navigate every day. But for Tiger and Elin, every interaction was weighted. Every conversation carried the ghost of what happened. Have you ever had to sit across from someone who hurt you deeply, knowing you have no choice but to be civil? Knowing that your children are watching, learning how to handle pain, how to move forward. That's the space they lived in. And neither of them talked about it. Until 2019. That was the year everything changed. Not because of a reunion. Not because of an interview. But because Tiger won the Masters. His first major championship in 11 years. His kids were there. Sam and Charlie ran onto the green, hugging him as he broke down in tears. The world watched a redemption story unfold. But what they didn't see was Elin, watching from a distance, her face unreadable. People assumed she was bitter, that she resented his comeback. But those who knew her told a different story. She was proud, not of him, of them, of the fact that despite everything, their children got to see their father win, got to feel that joy, that pride. And for the first time in years, Elin allowed herself to believe that maybe, just maybe, the worst was behind them. Fast forward to 2025. Charlie Woods is now a rising golf star in his own right. Tournaments, sponsorships, comparisons to his father at every turn. And at one of these events, something unprecedented happened. Elin showed up, not in the background, not hidden behind sunglasses and security. She stood with Tiger, watching their son, talking, laughing even. The photos were subtle, no stage smiles, no PR spin. Just two parents present for their kid. The internet exploded. Elin and Tiger together? Is this a reconciliation? Are they back together? The headlines screamed what everyone was thinking. But the truth was quieter. They weren't back together. They weren't even friends in the traditional sense. They were two people who had been through hell and decided that their children's happiness mattered more than their own pride. That's not a fairy tale. That's survival. That's grace. But here's the question that lingers: what does forgiveness actually look like? Does it mean erasing the past? Pretending the pain never happened? Or does it mean acknowledging the wound, carrying the scar, and choosing not to let it define you? Because Elin never said, "I forgive you." Not publicly, maybe not even privately, but she showed up. And in a world obsessed with grand gestures and public declarations, sometimes showing up is the most radical act of all. Think about your own life for a second. Is there someone you've written off? Someone whose betrayal felt too big to move past? What would it take for you to stand next to them again? Not for them, but for something bigger.